as promised. I'm going to be replying to comments, Jay. Nothing. There's nothing else that I'll be doing on this particular stream. So whether it's UFC 317, the Conor McGregor situation, which is honestly crazy. Um, I mean, there's so much to actually talk about. But as far as Conor McGregor, man, like it's one of the most bizarre things to actually witness because I don't know if Conor McGregor is not necessarily aware. Jonald Mendoza, what up, my guy? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the stream, man. I don't know why Conor McGregor is doing this, in all honesty, because it feels like in all honesty, I thought after the incident with the civil liability, as far as I don't want to say too much about that, but after that, I would have honestly imagined that Conor McGregor would actually avoid these kind of things. A large part of me was like, okay, after this, Conor McGregor is going to want to clear his name. Shoshot McGee, Jonesy call Gabe. I knew it. Okay, so what's the situation with John Jones, by the way? So what specifically did he say on the interview? But let me finish up what I was saying about Conor McGregor. So I honestly would have thought that Conor McGregor at this particular point in time would have been like, you know what? After this particular case, I think maybe I should at least clear my name by actually being a little bit more active and actually fighting. But it just feels like he continues to do all these things, and right now it's working, obviously, because he has money. He still have some level of fame, but there'll come a point whereby he's not as relevant, and I don't think it's going to work anymore because I think the UFC might be assisting Conor McGregor in some. I'm not implicating the UFC in any way. I'm just saying in a lot of these situations, as for example the Jorge Masvidal versus Kobe Covington situation. I know the UFC intervened, and it's probably why Kobe Covington received that title shot. Obviously, I think it has also something to do with political affiliation, but I also think the UFC was like, "Hey, dude, like drop this, and then we'll give you a title shot, right?" Actually, let me reply to you guys because that's the purpose of this stream. Rene, there is Lord. He loves it when everyone says Strip Jones. He turns it on. Jordan McGee, Connor needs to never go to the club again. I mean, and it's crazy because it's not just about the club though. It doesn't feel like it's about the club. It's about wherever he is. Like he was there was an incident where Conor McGregor was pulling some chick into the bathroom. I don't know to do what. So it's not just about the club. It just feels like wherever he goes, he just feels like he can do whatever he wants. And it's sad. I genuinely wish he would be a little bit more dedicated and be a bit more active. Um, it would be better for the sport. But I guess the sport is moving on, and I genuinely think if Hamza Chimaev, which I think is going to win, but if Hamza Chimaev not only wins, but wins dominantly, I don't know. You guys can tell me. But if Hamza Chimaev wins dominantly, I think he's going to be the biggest star in UFC right now, right? I don't know if he's going to surpass. I don't think anyone is going to come close to what Conor McGregor did. But I think if Hamza Chimaev manages to beat Dricus du Plessis and not just beat him, but dominate him, I think Hamza Chimaev is going to be probably one of the biggest stars in the UFC. Right, Ilya Tuporia for me personally, I feel like he is Israel Adesanya with power, and I'm not talking about technique. I'm talking about Israel Adesanya's success was very reliant on his youth, right? And because his youth is gone, he's not as good as he used to be, right? So for me, I think Ilia Tuporia's skill is largely dependent on his youth. It's like Kobe Covington, but let me not use Kobe Covington. Kobe was never really good. But let me use Israel Adesanya because at least Israel Adesanya was pound for pound number one at some point. Is a two-time middleweight champion, so at least that's a decent comparison. I feel like Ilia Tuporia depends too much on his youth. I don't think you are free to disagree. This is the purpose of the stream. I'm going to reply to every single comment. I apologize. I'm going on this rant instead of reading comments, but I'm going to read them now. I just want to finish this thought. I just feel like Ilia Tuporia gets hit a little bit too much. Someone was asking me a question earlier on in the day, and I was like, dude, what do you think about Ilia Tuporia versus Charles Oliveira? And obviously, my subscribers know how I feel about that particular fight. Obviously, I think I'm going to go with Ilia Tuporia, but it's not a safe bet. Actually, it's not a safe pick because I feel like Charles Oliveira's wrestling has improved. I saw that in the Michael Chandler fight. Even though obviously he didn't do to Michael Chandler what Paddy Pimblett did to Michael Chandler, I still feel like Charles Oliveira's wrestling looked massively improved, in my own sincere opinion. And because of that, I feel like Charles Oliveira might potentially be a problem because people like Josh Emmett, and I've said this in the past, have been able to have success against Ilia Topuria. And it just feels like Charles Oliveira is a much more dangerous version, not the version, a much more talented version of what do you call him? Uh, Josh Emmett. He can knock you out. He can submit you. I think he's technically good. So, and on top of that, Ilia Tuporia, despite the fact that he's been saying like the weight cut to featherweight is a lot for him. In all honesty, I genuinely feel like, I mean, Ilia Tuporia is small, dog. Like, wow, what's so hard about cutting to featherweight? I think he's going to be undersized at featherweight. I mean, at middle at lightweight. I mean, I think he's going to be a little bit undersized. I don't know if the power is going to have the same impact. I mean, knockout power is knockout power. It doesn't matter which division it is. But I feel like the impact he used to have at featherweight, I don't know if it's going to translate to lightweight. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Actually, let me stop talking too much and reply to you guys. That's the purpose of the stream. Ghana needs to never go to the club again. Jonald Mendoza, do you goon to John Ank? The things that you guys have taught me. Like, why would I goon to a dude? Like, that doesn't make sense. Shoshan McGee, I had, um, I had a friend like him in school, got drunk and just wanted to fight. I'm Shoshan McGee. Drunk Connor has zero emotional control. Hamza is getting finished, unfortunately. Okay, I don't know how to read your name, my guy, but I can tell that you're probably Russian. It is what it is. Gino Valentino. Kobe was tough and a great wrestler. He was never a great. He was. I think he was weaponizing his youth. He was young. He had cardio. He predominantly fought people past their prime because of the name value. I think that's Kobe's whole career. Shoshat McGee, Kobe, the old man slayer. Now he's the old man and gets cooked. That's basically Kobe Covington's career in a nutshell. He was young, fighting older guys, weaponizing his, you know, and basically dominating because he was the younger guy. Obviously, that's why he doesn't want to fight young guys right now. He knows what he was doing when he was younger. Um, Next comment is Gino Valentino said, "Hi, what up, my guy? Welcome to the stream." Shoshot McGee, Leon out wrestled Kobe. That's honestly sad to hear. It was sad to see, like because everyone was like, what do you call him? Kobe Covington is gonna dominate, and Leon did whatever he wanted to him. Shoshot McGee, don't let him bully you. Gino Valentino, Kobe was so gun shy against Leon. And Kobe was never good, man. Like, in all honesty, Kobe was never good. Shoshat McGee, Ilya already has a KO at 155 in the UFC. Who did he? Oh, I mean, I assume you're talking about Jai Herbert, right? I mean, Jai Herbert is not Charles Oliveira. Um, Jai Herbert. I mean, even Hamza has a knockout. Like he knocked out the GM3. I mean, at least that knockout aged really well because GM3 is playing in the region of the bottom 15. It's not the greatest win, but GM3 like has the highest number of submissions in middleweight history, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. I don't know if Jai Herbert is the perfect example to use, but you may. That's a good point, actually. Um, what do you call? Chikwi Point, my brothers, a shout out from USA. God bless and keep up the good work, bro. I appreciate that, my guy. Um, but who you got for Blades versus Kuniev? Um, I'm going. I'm going. Curtis Blades. I feel like Kuniev seems like he is pretty decent, but I don't like the level of competition that he's been fighting. To be honest, I feel like Kuniev. I feel like Kuniev has looked good against the less than, or at the very least, based on what I've seen. I don't feel like he's been fighting the best level of competition, so it's easy to look like a world beater when you're fighting people like I don't know. PFL doesn't have a lot of competition, especially at heavyweight. That's why Francis Ngannou is not competing because they can't find competition for him, right? So I don't know. Maybe he might surprise us, but when you look at Curtis Blades has been in the top five of the heavyweight division, while Daniel Cormier was champion, and Curtis Blades was still in the top five, right? So Curtis Blades has been a stable at heavyweight in the top five of the heavyweight. So I don't know if Kuniev is going to come from PFL and I don't know do anything to Curtis Blades. I mean, if he does, I will be shocked. But at the same time, Curtis Blades does not have the best, but again, fight IQ, so he makes really stupid decisions in mid-fight. So I mean, maybe he could make a dumb decision, and that could potentially cost him. But I don't know, man. I don't know if Kuniev can actually do anything to Curtis Blades. Um, Cheeky point, how you know English, bro? Wow. You guys think we live in a jungle? How do I know English? I mean, I went to school, guys. Like, my subscribers know, like, I practice law. So, obviously, if I'm practicing law, I need to know English. But yeah, I mean, I went to school. That's how I know English. But I appreciate that. I know you didn't mean any ill will. Shoshat McGee, Jai is a better striker. Than Charles. Charles is just a better MMA fighter with more power. Okay, fair point. I will concede to that. I'm short, but I genuinely just feel like the power element is important because it's not like Josh Emmett is a technically talented striker, but he was able to give Ilya Tuporia problems, right? So I don't feel like Jai Herbert is that talented technically. So yeah, but that's a fair point to be honest. Jonald Mendoza, how many rounds are you gonna last with Tracy Cortez? I brought this on myself with the name of this stream. I don't know. I'm very durable, man. I'm very durable. I don't know. Hours, I guess, because you never know when that opportunity will come again. So, I mean, you do whatever it takes to make sure it lasts. Shoshat McGee, Ilya does good with power. I'm not disputing that. I mean, Ilya Tuporia is a former champion, and even on the channel we have the subscribers Combat Sports Award, and the subscribers actually gave him the fighter of the year when everyone was saying, "Nah, it should be Alex Pereira. It's Alex Pereira fighter of the year," and I also disagreed. I felt like Alex Pereira beat who? He beat Khalil Rountree. He beat Jamal Hill. Who else did he beat? Like he didn't beat like obviously he's beating a guy who's coming back from an injury. He beats the number seventh ranked light heavyweight. So some of the things that were happening for me, I didn't agree with. Um, Alex Pereira being the fighter of the year in that particular year, and the subscribers fortunately actually agreed with me, and they gave Ilya Tuporia fighter of the year last year, right? So I do agree. Ilya Tuporia beat Max Holloway. He beat Alexander Volkanovski. But one of the arguments that I've always been making is that that's perfectly fine, and that's a solid argument. But my biggest issue is that Ilya Tuporia has been knocking out volume strikers. For me, that's not necessarily that impressive. And I know whenever I start speaking about volume striking and Max Holloway, they are going to bring up the knockout of the Korean Zombie. They are going to bring up Justin Gaethje. Max Holloway is going to knock you out if you plant and you try to stand in the pocket with him, right? That's what the Korean Zombie did. He was just being reckless and chasing the finish, and he was pressing Max Holloway against the fence. And what did Max Holloway do? He obliged, and it was like, "You want this? Okay, let's go," and he knocked him out. Right? That's the same thing that happened with Justin Gaethje. It's not like Max Holloway um, was just moving left, right, and center, and then landed like a big shot. That's not what happened. What happened is they stood. Max Holloway knocked them out. Max Holloway in the pocket is really good, right? He can get caught, but in the pocket, Max Holloway is really exceptionally good. That's how it happened with the Korean Zombie. That's how it happened with Justin Gaethje. So for me, I'm not saying Alexander Volkanovski or Max Holloway cannot knock you out. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Ilya Tuporia, if you look at it, he's been finishing guys who don't have that much power. And the one guy who seemingly had power that he fought in Josh Emmett, he went to a decision. That's not a coincidence, right? Ilya Tuporia does not have the best striking defense, and I don't know if it's going to be Charles Oliveira who's going to expose that, but I think Charles Oliveira has been improving, especially since Ian Gary started training with Shoot Their Box. Since Ian Gary started training at Shoot Their Box, I feel like Charles Oliveira striking has been a little bit better, especially defensively. Offensively, Oliveira has been good, but defensively he's been horrible. That's why he's been caught during his championship run. Every single time we knew he was going to get caught, but he was going to find a way to finish the fight somehow, right? That's what made him exciting. That's what turned him into a star. It's the fact that he was able to come back from adversity, from being hurt. That's what made him who he is today. But I feel like Charles Oliveira, especially when you look at the Michael Chandler fight, he was fighting very responsibly, and I felt like he could have finished Michael Chandler, just that Chandler was busy cheating throughout the entire fight, right? So, in all honesty, for me, I feel like Charles Oliveira has been improving, just that he's at the end of his prime. So maybe that might not be how, or rather, that might not be the guy who's going to give him problems. I truly believe that Islam Makhachev, if he when he gets the belt at welterweight, he might defend it a couple of times. I think Islam Makhachev is going to come back down, and I think that's the guy who's going to beat the living crap out of Ilya Tuporia. That's why Ilya Tuporia has always been saying he's going to submit Islam Makhachev because he knows on the feet he's gonna get picked apart. His only shot, and I think it's because he got this idea from seeing, what do you call him, Alexander Volkanovski being able to have success against Islam Makhachev on the ground in their first fight at Australia, somewhere in Australia, right? He saw that fight and he was like, oh, man, I mean, if Alexander Volkanovski can have success against him, then definitely I can too, right? But I genuinely think people might be saying whatever they're saying about Islam Makhachev. I can't wait for him to come back down because I feel like I genuinely don't think Islam Makhachev is going to let that go, especially if Ilia Topuria manages to beat Charles Oliveira and maybe, which I think might potentially happen, and maybe defends against Justin Gaethje. But I heard Ilia Topuria saying he's going to fight. He wants to fight Paddy Pimblett as his first defense. So we'll see what happens. But in all honesty, I genuinely just feel like Ilia Topuria has power. Um, I don't know, man. I'm just not as sold as everyone else. I'm still picking him though. I'm still picking him. I just feel like he is not as clean as a lot of people see. He has power, that's for sure. He has power. He has exceptional fight IQ. But look at the fight with Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski. Up until that finish, he was getting touched up. Even his face looks like he was in a fight. It's not like he goes in there and he avoids getting hit, like he has this incredible defense, and then after that he just lands that big shot. No, he gets touched up. Look at his face after especially after the Max Holloway fight. He was bruised up. So I don't know, man. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, though. Um, Ilya's good with power. Clemon, what's your thoughts on Aman? I think Aman is another guy that I think could potentially beat Ilya Topuria. However, after looking at the fight between Aman Sarukian and Charles Oliveira, Aman Sarukian does not have the best striking, so he might potentially struggle as far as striking against the Ilya Topuria. But I would assume that Aman has a reach advantage, so that could be interesting. Aman seems like he is going to always wrestle if he doesn't feel like he has the striking advantage. And against Ilya Topuria, it might be a problem because I feel like Ilya Topuria has decent wrestling, right? So I don't think it's gonna be as easy. I mean, I want to use Bryce Mitchell as an example, but at this point, Bryce Mitchell makes me feel like he was never really that good. I'm sorry to say that, but I mean, he's been losing like fights that I expected him to actually win. Even though I picked him against Gene Silva, I actually expected him to lose that one. Like losing to Josh Emmett was like, guy, like Josh Emmett. I mean, like so. I don't know where to rank the win against Bryce Mitchell and the wrestling of Bryce Mitchell at this point. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I need someone to test Ilya Tuporia's grappling, and then we'll basically know if he's that good because he's been saying he's going to submit Islam Makhachev. So I guess I need to see someone actually test him, and I don't know if it's going to be Charles. That's the other thing. Even though I feel like Charles Oliveira has been improving his grappling, I still have a problem. I still have a problem with the fact that Charles Oliveira was out wrestled by Aman. So I don't know what's going to happen in that particular fight. But as far as Aman might be probably the third or second best lightweight currently on the roster. Right? I struggle to see anyone except maybe Ilya Tuporia and Islam Makhachev beating him. Right? I don't see Charles Oliveira beating Aman, even though it was close. I don't see him beating Aman. I feel like Aman is still improving. I don't see Dan Hooker beating Aman. I feel like Aman has the ability to out wrestle him. I don't see Mateus Gamrot out wrestling him. Justin Gaethje. I don't see like I don't honestly see anyone who I feel like okay this guy could give problems to Aman Sarukian. So I think he's a pretty legit contender, potentially a champion. I think out of anyone in that division, he's probably the one person who could actually dethrone Ilya Tuporia should he get the belt. Right, which is kind of crazy to considering that Aman won and beat the guy who's fighting for the belt. Courage is insane. It's not like a man lost, right? He just pulled out, and they were like, you know what? F you. We're going to teach you a lesson. But that doesn't happen in the women's division. I'm sure Macy Barber is going to get a title shot next. I, I mean, that's how it works in WMMA. You pull out, you get a title shot after that. Um, long live Mac Warrior. What's that? Conor punched a dude for no reason. Yeah, apparently the story is Conor McGregor was partying and out of nowhere, unprovoked, he just landed a 1-2 or whatever it is that knocked that guy out. But apparently the guy says apparently is not talking about suing or anything. So probably they reached out. Conor McGregor's people reached out and maybe offered something, you know, to avoid any legal. And that's the power of money, right? Um, he can hurt you knowing that $100,000 is going to keep you quiet, right? That's how it works, and that's why he's able to get away with a lot of the things that he does. It's just sad because I feel like he's wasting his prime. I feel like he could have achieved a lot more in the octagon, but he's basically choosing to just be outside and just doing stupid things. But I mean, he is Connor, so let the punching toll continue, I guess. I mean, it's the punching toll. Like, it just feels like he just wants to fight everyone except the people he should be fighting in the octagon. Come on, Connor. Anyway, even when a fight is booked for Conor McGregor, it doesn't feel real until you see him walking out because anything can happen and the fight will be cancelled. You know, so Conor McGregor. I cheeky point. Okay, now I know, bro. I didn't mean no offense with that question about English. I was just curious. No, 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 fam. Don't worry. I'm good with that, man. I appreciate that. Playboy, what up, my guy? Welcome to the stream, man. Playboy said hi. Welcome. Um, yeah, yeah. Is that Angelosa? That's a crazy statement to make. I mean, I'm a bit offended. Why Angelosa? Why not anyone else? Why? It's cool. I need to get better lighting. I don't look like Angelosa. Look at my stream from when it was daytime. You know, like the lighting is not showing me the right way. I mean, but it's cool. It's cool. Shawshot McGee, I'm more worried about Charles' knees and kicks more than his boxing. And Ilya will mix in the takedowns to avoid the clinch. Okay. Um, but I think we can both agree that it's gonna be a lot more difficult than a lot of people are making it out to be. I genuinely don't think it's going to be like a straightforward type of a fight. I think Ilya Tuporia is going to be in a fight, that's for sure. But he might just go in there, just knock him out. I mean, Charles Oliveira is a bit chinny, is at the end of his prime, like I said before. So I mean, it's the perfect recipe for him to actually get knocked out. Playboy, is Fiziev out of the fight with Bahamondes? No way. I hope you're joking. I mean, that's probably one of the. I think that's the biggest fight for me personally. I I'm more curious about the co-main event than I am about the main event. So I hope you're wrong, man. why why would you even say that, dude? Like, don't say that. Shwashwat Raj, do you think the Nadia versus Park fight goes the distance? Most likely, I feel like Jin Park is probably going to win that fight. However, he doesn't finish fights, so it's most likely going to be a decision. Nadiev has a finishing ability. I think he has a 75% finishing rate. So he has the finishing rate, but I don't know if it's going to win this one. I mean, he went to a decision with Bruno Silva. That's not impressive. Um, Yeah, I genuinely feel like a decision is a safe pick. Shashwat Raj, do you think the Hamdi versus Usman fight goes the distance? I don't know. Usman fights safe, right? Usman fights safe, so I don't see him being aggressive enough to get a finish. Has he even gotten a finish in the UFC? I think he has, but it's so forgettable. I can't even remember it. So it's most likely going to be a decision, which is crazy for heavyweights. But maybe Hamdi will be pressing enough in order to pressure and maybe find a way to finish the fight, especially because Hamdi has like a 75% finishing rate. So maybe Hamdi might find a way to pressure and actually find a finish. But I'm not going to be too confident on that one. Because in his previous fight, I think he won via decision, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, um, I don't know. I think a decision is more likely. Usman fights very safe, so I don't see him being too aggressive. He Usman has a bit of cardio, so I don't see him getting too gassed to a point whereby he gets finished. And you see, Hamdi is a little bit, wobbly. So he's probably going to be the one guessing out if anyone is going to guess out. But at the same time, Usman is past his prime. Like this is one of the most challenging fights to pick. The Nadia fight versus Junior Park, as well as the Usman versus Hamdi fight, are probably the most difficult fights to predict. Largely because it could go either way, quite literally. I felt like Usman has not been fighting the best, or has been fighting the best competition, but he's lost to the best. Not the best. I mean, the most average competition at heavyweight. At the same time, Hamdi, it's quite difficult, man. So those are coin flips for me. Um, uh, Shoshan McGee, what is Viziv out? Say more, Playboy. Playboy, I don't know if Playboy is telling us the truth. I read it at X. No, man. I hope they are playing. No, they can't say that. Maybe someone talking BS. Yeah, yeah. I think it's BS, man. Like, don't say that, man. Because like I need that fight to happen. I need to see that fight. Shot McGee. I just watched the weigh-ins and he was there. Yeah. Now maybe the information is not correct. Rene there is Lord. He's trolling. I don't see any news about it. I'm glad we were all worried about that particular fight. I thought, but based on the views, even the views on the channel, I think so far that video is the one getting like most of the views. So yeah, Shoshat McGee, I hope not. Yeah, same here, man. Rene the is lost. Nice try, did he? Wow, Shoshat McGee. I got Bahamondes at plus 110 2 weeks ago. Wow. Okay. You're probably going to be cashing out real nicely. If he wins, I feel like Fazeev is going to win, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Join the watch along and see if it goes out my way or not. By the way, if you're new, join the watch along. Rene the Lord, my boy Ed, Big Marcel would have posted about it. Rene the Lord, is Ignacio a favorite now? I think so. The last time I checked, I think Ignacio Bahamondes was the favorite, if I'm not mistaken. Someone check. I think he's the favorite right now. Is he? Yeah, I think he's the favorite. I remember today as I was doing the upsets predictions. I think he's the favorite. Yeah, I think Ignacio is the favorite. Shoshat McGee. Yeah, yeah. No, he is actually. Playboy. Charles will go to hospital after fighting Topori. Okay, okay, I hear you. By the way, to my subscribers, the community section is now open. You can start your own conversations there. It's no longer just going to be me posting in the community section. I know normally I post fights for predictions, so now from now on, like you can start your own conversations in the community section. That's pretty cool. I got a message from YouTube. I turned it on. Charles Oliveira. Oh, I read this comment. Shawshot McGee minus 125. Yeah, he's not a massive favorite, but he is a favorite. Rene the Rizlot. Well, then I have all favorites in this card. I'm honestly worried for me at the very least. Yeah, I'm not particularly, I'm not, I don't know how this fight is going to play out. Both the main event and the co-main event, I think they are very, very, very closely matched. The UFC has been doing really well as far as matching up the most difficult fights to predict, but the quality of the fights has been honestly trash, and it honestly sucks. Maybe it's because I guess maybe it happens after a certain period of time. You expect the certain things. I don't know, man. I just feel like the UFC has been playing a bit lately, and even boxing fans will be like, "Yeah, boxing is better than MMA." Yeah, as far as maybe the cards, I don't know, but purely at combat sports, MMA will forever be better, man. Like, it's not even debatable. Um, I mean, you're open to disagree though. Renee the Lord, damn, okay. Shashat Raj, I think the Ignacio versus Vizzy fight goes all 3 rounds. Potentially, it's highly possible. It's highly possible. Shashat McGee, if he gets a KO, change your name. Shashat McGee, Bahamondes, the baby maker, what the Shashat Raj, you think Bahamondes KOs Fazeev? I think Fazeev wins, but I mean, that's the nice thing about this channel. We can disagree. That's why the subscribers have their picks and I have my picks, right? So we can disagree. That's honestly cool. Um, Sayolise Kongwana picked apart by Islam, who got picked apart by Dustin. I mean, Dustin is an exceptionally talented boxer. What do you mean, dog? Islam Mahashev is a complete fighter. He's a complete fighter. I mean, Ilya Tuporia was being beaten out. Like, I understand being a fan of someone, but we also have to be objective, right? We have to be realistic about certain things. Ilya Tuporia struggled against Josh Emmett. Are you trying to tell me that Josh Emmett is a better striker than Islam Makhachev? Sayolis, is that what you're trying to say? Because that's what you're saying basically right now. Or are you saying Josh Emmett is a better striker than Dustin Poirier, the guy who beat Max Holloway? I think twice, right? He beat Max Holloway twice, if I'm not mistaken. So are you trying to say that Josh Emmett is better than Dustin because you are criticizing Islam Makhachev for having a back and forth, a striking match against Dustin Poirier? I think that's a pretty strange argument, but yeah, I mean, you're open to thinking that way. But I would, I think Islam Makhachev having a back and forth with Dustin Poirier, the guy who's been in the top five for over half a decade, versus Josh Emmett, who's been in the top five for I don't know 2 years, and then he started to fall off. I don't know. I don't think Josh Emmett is particularly great at striking. He just has power, and he knows how to land it. So I don't know. I don't know why you would criticize Dustin Poirier like he's a scrub, you know. But I mean, you're open to feel how you feel. Um, Playboy Islam has enough cows and horses he can retire. I think he will fight Ilya Tuporia. That's for sure. Shawshot McGee maybe, but I think he gets a decision. Who? You think Islam, if he fought Ilya Tuporia, will get a decision? Shashwat Raj, Dustin was not picking apart Islam. Two, three good exchanges does not mean picking apart. Yeah, that's honestly crazy. I think that's the problem with a dominant fighter. Whenever a dominant fighter does not dominate, then it's like, oh my god. Oh my God, this guy is so good. I think that's the problem. And apart from that, even if Dustin Poirier was giving Islam Makhachev a hard fight, there's no shame in that. Dustin Poirier is one of the most talented fighters in the UFC, right? I'm 100% sure he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, despite the fact that he hasn't won an undisputed belt. He's been an interim champion. I don't even think BMF counts, but he's been at the top of the lightweight division, probably one of the hardest divisions, or in the past I don't know how many years of the UFC, right? And he's been in the top five, right? The people that he's beaten some of the most prolific champions, fighters. So I don't know why that is anything to actually make fun of or anything like that, because Dustin Poirier is not a scrub. Maybe to some people he might be, but he's not a scrub, right? He's beaten former champions like Conor McGregor, Max Holloway, who else? Some I forgot, but like to make it sound like Josh Emmett is a way better winner than Dustin Poirier is crazy to me. Playboy, Fiziv is not the same guy after his ACL injury. Bahamondes by KO. Yeah, you know what? A part of me wants to agree with you, but another part of me is like, damn, this guy went to two decisions, if I'm not mistaken, with Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is another staple at the light heavyweight division, lightweight division. Why do I say heavyweight? Lightweight division in the past, nearly over half a decade, actually, not nearly. He's been in the top five for such a long period of time. He's one of those skilled fighters, right? The mere fact that Rafael Fiziev was able to go to a decision with him twice, I mean, I feel like it's something to respect, in my opinion. It might mean that Fiziev might not be championship level. The question is Ignacio Bahamondes championship level? Can he actually become a champion? Right? I guess we'll just have to find out. But I think the experience that he got against the Justin Gaethje, I think a lot of people look at it like, oh my God, he's not that good. Look at what the Dustin Poirier did to Benoit Saint Denis. Even though Benoit Saint Denis was doing pretty decently in the grappling exchanges, I genuinely don't feel like when you look at how how he performed, I don't think it should be anything but impressive in my opinion. So I feel like the experience against Justin Gaethje will play a factor into this particular fight. Obviously, Ignacio Bahamondes has the reach advantage. Um, I don't know about the defense and the wrestling. I mean, obviously Bahamondes trains with Bilal Muhammad, so maybe that might be a little bit more difficult. But in all honesty, I feel like Rafael Fiziev, based on what I've seen in the past, might be able to actually do something on the ground. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But the mere fact that he was able to go to a decision twice with Justin Gaethje for me is impressive, to be honest. Um, but maybe to some people it's like, yeah, he's washed up or he's been fraud checked twice. So I guess we'll see then. I guess we'll see. Shashwat Raj, I might bet the overs just to be safe. Both are pretty durable fighters. I agree. That's why it's one of the hardest fights to actually predict, and I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Oak Ridge, Taxidermist, Dustin or Max, who you got? I think, man, Dustin Poirier looked good against Islam Makhachev. It shows that he was working really hard. But I think it's because Dustin Poirier understood that that was his last shot at becoming a champion. In this particular, but he's fighting for the BMF belt, so maybe he might be motivated. I don't know, man. I just feel like Max Holloway is going to be good at fighting at a distance. Um, I don't know. I think Max is going to be better. I think I'm going to go with Max. Unofficially, though, I'll decide if I'm still going to go with Max Holloway as time progresses. But unofficially, I'm going with Max Holloway, to be honest. Um, Myro, Haley, how are you, man? I'm Playboy Dustin. Yeah, I'm going with that. No, I'm going with Max Holloway. No comment. The Crawford or Canelo. Hard to say. Hard to say. Maybe Canelo, but even I don't know. Let me not even say that. I don't know, man. And I don't watch boxing that much, so my opinion, to be honest, is not important there when it comes to boxing. Now, if you want to talk about MMA, man, like, and I've been arguing with different people, not arguing, but debating with different people in the comment section. So if you want to talk about MMA, man, like, we can talk for hours. But boxing, I'm a casual. I'm not even a good casual because I I'll watch boxing. I don't know when who is fighting. But yeah, even when the biggest stars like Canelo or Crawford are fighting, I don't watch boxing. Unfortunately, so I think maybe I'm the wrong person to ask. But as the channel grows, maybe I'll involve a couple of people who can actually have a bit more input as far as boxing goes. For now, I'm just going to focus on growing the MMA part of it, and then maybe as time progresses, I'll add boxing as a separate thing. But in all honesty, I'm going to hire someone to do it. I'm not necessarily that interested in boxing, to be honest. So I'll get someone who actually likes watching boxing, and maybe we can debate about which one is better between MMA and boxing. I love objectivity. I love debate. Like I don't mind being proven wrong, right? But I mean, I think if Hamza Chimaev was to face, I don't know, Muhammad Ali, even his prime, I don't. I feel like Hamza Chimaev. I respect Ali on my greatest fighters of all time. He is at the top. But if you put Muhammad Ali and Hamza Chimaev in the ring and say fight, I'm going with Hamza, dog. Muhammad Ali has to keep it on the feet in order to win, and he's not going to. So for me, MMA is the best. Anyway, let me not even talk about that. Um, Thug Life, Jamal Hill looks in great shape. Yeah, I genuinely think he's going to actually be a problem. I'm picking Halil Rountree, but I can honestly see what do you call him? Um, Jamal Hill actually getting it done. He has the experience advantage. He has the reach. I think he has the volume, striking, defense. I don't know. I'm just worried, man. I'm just worried. I just changed my prediction strategy. So I honestly can't say I'm going with Hill. My prediction strategy has betrayed me since the beginning of the year, so I had to change it, right? But my old prediction strategy, and that's the prediction strategy that helped me pick Volkanovski over Diego Lopez. Um, I also told my subscribers when I was breaking down the fight between Usman versus Buckley, I was like, I feel like Usman has a shot at winning this fight, but obviously I went with Buckley. It helped me predict so many unique fights that unfortunately it wasn't very consistent. It would give me the best results here and then not so great results there. So I had to check up the deuces and leave it behind. Rene the Rizlord, the thing is, Volk and Holloway are way better technical strikers than Charles. They like to move around laterally and can keep opponents at range, whereas Charles plants his feet and throws. Shit. That's good input, man. I guess we'll see, man. I guess we'll see. The thing that I feel like Ilya Tuporia respects is finishing ability, and he knew going into the fight with Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski that that's not going to be a big factor in that particular fight. Maybe maybe I'm wrong, but I guess we'll see. But it's not like Ilya Tuporia moves a lot, and Charles Oliveira can knock him out. Like we shouldn't forget that Charles Oliveira can actually knock him out. Right. So anyway, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Charles plans this week. Renier the Rizla, the Charles is also gonna come forward and walk into shots. Um, okay. I feel like Charles Oliveira has been improving, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but in the fight against Michael Chandler, he looked very technically better, defensively better. Even the wrestling, I felt like he improved in his last fight. I feel like it's a little too late, unfortunately for him, but he looked very improved. Um, Especially when you look at the fight, but the Banil Dariush fight is a bad example to make, but still, he looked really good, especially striking wise in that particular fight. Thug Life, Canelo versus Crawford have no hype. They are making like some fight of the century. I mean, I didn't even know they were fighting, to be honest. Shashwat Raj, imagine if Ilya subs Charles. Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. Renier the Rizlot, he has been cracked in nearly every fight he's been in. Chandler had hurt him bad in the fifth round. Obviously, Chandler was cheating throughout that whole fight. I mean, he had to have some opportunity to actually finish the fight. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I still feel like Charles Oliveira has a shot. I don't think he's a scrub at striking. Um, but yeah, I'm still going with Ilya Tuporia. I just I just I just feel like there's going to be a point where Ilya gets checked if he fights long enough, right? Because I feel like Ilya Tuporia is very close to retiring. There are very few things that he's going to want to achieve. I think if Ilya Tuporia somehow beats Islam Makhachev, he's going to retire. It's not gonna happen, but I think if Ilya Tuporia beats Islam Makhachev, he's going to retire. He strikes me as the guy who is planning on making the most amount of money and then leaving the sport. At the top, being the biggest star. That's, I think, his plan. Sure shot McGee, and he will walk into takedowns. Yeah, the fight against Aman Sarukian worried me a lot, and I think that's why I keep saying I feel like Charles Oliveira improved a little bit, man, because in that Michael Chandler fight, I think he learned a lot from the Aman Sarukian fight, and he came back a little bit improved. And it took getting to the fifth round to hurt Charles Oliveira, and I felt like Michael Chandler was cheating a ton in that particular fight. So based on what you're saying, Charles Oliveira has to, what do you call him? Ilya Tuporia might have to get him to the fifth round in order to actually land that shot. But I don't know, man. I don't think it's gonna be like that. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Um, no comment. Crawford versus Canelo is a massive fight. Okay. I'm not into boxing, so I'll take your word for it. Ogridge, Dustin or Max? Max. I think Max is gonna win that one. No comment. I'm excited for it. Okay, that's pretty awesome, my guy. I'm excited for Hamza versus DDP. I don't know if I'm going to be as excited for any fight for the rest of the year. Maybe Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. And if they make any fight with Francis Ngannou, I feel like that would be massive. And the fact that the UFC allowed Francis Ngannou to actually get into the building is a good sign because I feel like for him to not only get into the building, to enter the building the way he did, from the back, like through the privileged sections where fighters normally enter, the seats that he got, I feel like that's a good sign. Maybe there's hope, even if the UFC moves on from I don't think the UFC is going to ever strip Jones because that's their goal. Like that's who UFC wants to be the company who has the fighter who is considered the greatest of all time, right? And that's why John Jones has been pushing, not John Jones, that Dana White has been going on different podcasts and saying John Jones is the greatest of all time. He wants that. He wants to. And he even said that it's not Muhammad Ali in his opinion. It's John Jones. Like he said that outrightly. So he wants to have that thing of the greatest fighter on the planet fought in our promotion, right? So I don't think they are going to strip him. unfortunately. So if the Tom Aspinall fight doesn't happen, I can promise you what they might do is actually they might actually take the belt from him and make the super fight with Francis Ngannou and give Tom Aspinall someone and make him undisputed. I think that could actually be the case. I don't know, but I could see it going that way. If John Jones doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall, especially because of the petition, I feel like the UFC will be forced to strip John Jones and give him the fight with Francis Ngannou and make Tom Aspinall fight someone else. I think that's potentially what could honestly happen. It's even bigger, especially for the new negotiation deals that they are going through. The UFC could use Francis Ngannou versus John Jones to actually negotiate with whoever they're negotiating with, especially considering WWE is on Netflix. It's highly likely that that's where the UFC is going as well. I would be so flippin' happy, man. Oh my god. I don't have Netflix, but I would actually have it. In a heartbeat, I would honestly. Unless if they block it in South Africa. I don't know if South Africa actually even WWE plays because there's a television network that plays WWE live, right? So I don't even know if they're going to allow us to watch it on Netflix, but I guess we'll see. But I need the UFC to go to Netflix, man. The product will be so much better. I'm seeing it with WWE. The product has improved massively since it got onto Netflix, and the numbers have skyrocketed. So I think it will have the same effect for UFC. I hope they go to Netflix. It's going to be better for everyone. The fight, the card quality will improve as well. Dustin by unanimous decision. Okay. Um, I don't know. I'm picking Max Holloway though. Long live the match warrior. Why are we not talking about the drunk Connor? I mean, I spoke about him a little bit at the beginning of the stream. I mean, there isn't much. I feel like Conor McGregor just is letting himself down. Like he wasted his prime doing stupid things, to be honest, and it honestly is sad because right now I feel like I don't know. There's very little opportunity for him to maximize his star power. He's going to eventually be like Floyd Mayweather, fighting in arenas that have are not even full yet, right? Because at some point, the Floyd Mayweather could pack an arena, but at some point, the more you lose, the more you do certain things, like the excitement around seeing you fight goes away, man. And I feel like he's wasted his prime doing stupid things outside the octagon, things that he could have done after he was done fighting, when he was like 30, like near the end of his prime. But right now, his prime has been wasted outside the octagon. But he's rich, so who can tell him what to do? Um, Shoshat McGee, I think it will be a club and sub for Ilya. I could see that happening. Despite my criticism, I still think Ilya Tuporia has the biggest shot at winning this particular fight. Shoshat McGee, Ilya to go too good, and Charles hasn't beat anyone younger than him since 2020. Okay, that's actually an interesting analysis. I actually wasn't aware of that. I'm still going to pick Ilya Tupori. I'm just a bit more critical of him. Sayolize Gongwana. Aman should find the Gamrod. I want to see something. I mean, he's already fought Gamrod, and I don't know. Even though he lost to Gamrod, I don't know. I don't honestly want to see that fight again. At the very least, up until Aman gets a title. At the very least. Leandro, Macy Barber should be promoted to a ring girl. I agree. It seems like she's scared of fighting. It sounds like she had a panic attack. You in jail, bro? Yeah, I'm locked up, man. Nigga. What it do? What it do? I, I'm not in jail, dude. I'm still starting up. Oh, you want to wait? I'll come back after 2 3 years. Then you'll see the most elaborate, setup for a live stream. Um, I mean, everyone has to start somewhere. I don't mind. There was a point whereby I was like, I'm never gonna stream up until I have the correct camera, I have the nice setup. I was like, F that, man. I'm going to stream even if I don't have the right camera or the right lighting or the right background. So I prefer it that way, actually. So that when you see me having a studio, you will be able to say, "Oh, I remember when he was streaming in what looked like a prison cell." um, long live. I'm gonna pay the guy and a lifetime supply of shitty liquor. I assume so because he's not pressing any charges. Um, what's wrong? Okay. Renee the Lord, remember when Connor spat in Habib's face? Connor has. I mean, that's what made him who he is today, man. That's what made him who he is today. Big Uncle MMA. Hello. How are you, man? Long live Meg Warrior. Connor won't ever fight a real fighter like Jeremy Stevens. Only acts tough in the Power Club. Jeremy Stevens. Okay. I mean, I think there are better fighters than that, but I mean, I guess Jeremy Stevens is also pretty decent. Leonardo, it's nice to see Derek Lewis doing well. These comments. Big Ang MMA, I thought you were Jarzinho Rose Strike call for a second. The thinly veiled racism is hilarious. Donald Mendoza, is Jalen Turner your son? Wow. Tell him I miss him. Wow. Leandro, I'm big uncle. um, big uncle MMA. Tuporia will KO Charles in round 1 or 2. I could see that. Charles is susceptible to that, so I could honestly see that. Sayo Lise Kongwa. Are you South African? Your name sounds South African. Ilya was a bit bloody from a few exchanges with Max. Imagine what Charles will do to him. That's the argument I was making. That man, no one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear that. And they've been destroying everything I've been saying. They've been like, but Charles Oliveira this, and they make good points though. Um, Renee there is Lord. I don't think it would be smart for Ilya to shoot takedowns. By doing that, he gives Charles probably the only chance to beat him because Charles is dangerous with his submissions. I agree. Leandro Charles should just not make weight or pull out like Why? We want to see that fight, and I'm sure he wants to be a champion again. Big Ang MMA. Tofik Rizvan could win. Blades is chinny. And Orobai took lots of damage versus Rebecca. I don't know, man. Maybe Tofik could win, but I feel like his career has been very fluctuant or fluid, in to say the least. To be honest, as far as Blades, Blades' IQ is the only stressful thing about him fighting. And Orobai, I think Orobai is still pretty fine. I don't know. I feel like Orobai still has a pretty decent chin. He has the wrestling in his back pocket, and the striking clearly was there. That's what made that fight so exciting with Rebecca. Big Ang MMA. Usman finished Zach Paunga. That honestly doesn't mean much to me. Leandro Orobai's eyes are standing closer than the Island Boys. Who's Joe? Yo, what up, man? Shot McGee. The Canfoot soldier will find you. Who's Joe? Bahamondes by decision for the meal. Why do you guys keep saying for the meal? Like, Well, I saw someone saying the same thing. Oliveira, do you wish Olympic the missile will be French champion this year? I honestly don't know, my guy. To be honest, Big Ang MMA. If it goes to the scorecards, Fiziv can win because it's his home country. Damn. Okay. But I still feel like he's actually pretty decent though. Um, Big Ang MMA judges can sway towards certain fighters. I agree. Leandro. There's a high probability that's he is related to the judges. Shit, that's crazy. Rene the Rizlord, in my opinion, you kind of need to you kind of need unpredictable fights to create that uncertainty that makes the build up and fight more tense. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree, and it excites me to be honest. It just feels like I just wish they actually made decent fights. But as long as they're competitive, at the very least, they're giving us that. Shashwat Raj, who do you think wins both WMMA fights? Melissa Mullins and um, Arena, Arena something, Alexiva or something like that. And I feel like Mullins, Mullins is probably going to be dominant. Actually, even Saigula, not Saigula, I mean, even Alexiva, Saigula is not very good. Like, I think both Mullins and Alexiva are going to be very dominant, in my opinion. Boomer, who's my most confident pick? My most confident pick would be Tagirul Bekov, and to be honest, both Melissa Mullins and Alexiva. I feel like they should definitely win those fights. Big Ang MMA. Ilya versus Paddy would be a closer fight than people think. And Paddy looked sloppy. I think his wrestling actually helped him a lot in that particular fight. Who's Joe? Paddy is huge. Yeah, it will be. Okay. Goodwill 998. The Paddy will knock out Islam in 170 division. Wow. Okay, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, man. The big Unk MMA. Jeffrey Wilson, who the fuck is this guy? Leandro, Ilya is Dakim Paddy, plain and simple. It's crazy because that's what they're saying about Islam somehow. Big Unk MMA, Ilya scared of Aman. Yeah, he's not even calling him out. But I wouldn't say he's scared, but he doesn't necessarily seem to want to fight him. He's probably going to call him irrelevant. That's why he's not mentioning him. He's going to do the same thing to Aman that he did to Movzaev Loev. He's going to act like he doesn't exist. Jonald Mendoza, Ilya is ducking Mario Bautista. Who's Joe? Ilya TKO's Paddy. The real threat for Ilya is Aman. I agree. Kick him in the head MMA podcast said hi. Welcome to the stream, man. Leandro, Aman is ducking poverty. Max the Goat, the kick him in the head, MMA podcast. Wow. I mean, I agree. Who's Joe? Aman is ducking his spy. Some random dude. Jones is the MMA equivalent of Mayweather. Jeffrey Wilson, Ilya ain't scared of anyone, but he should not have moved up in weight. I agree. Leandro, Usman Dakim Bilal. Usman is old, man. I think he wants money fights and a championship. And I don't blame him for that. He has done so much for the company. Leandro, Canelo hands down would scar his face like a Khalil 2.0. Okay. Kick him in the head. Podcast MMA. Aman close to being champ, but a dent in it with that injury. Yeah, that's actually fair. Um, Big Ang MMA. UFC signed two fighters from KSW Shamrock from Octagon, and now the Legia from PFL. Okay, Atomic 3301. Hey buddy, remember me? No.
Who's Joe? Fiziv is better than Klein. In my opinion, Klein dominated Bahamondes like 2 years ago. They have same reach height, so if Fiziv mixes up there, he should win on paper, but we will see. So close fight. Yeah, no, I agree, man. I genuinely, honestly agree. Um, it's gonna be a very, very interesting fight to see, man. Big Unk MMA Rountree would get demolished by Uberg and Jiri. I agree. Leandro Hill will piece him up. Highly possible. Who's Joe? Nah, Halil would win against Uberg, but yeah, Jiri is the boogeyman right now. Nah, man. I think even Uberg would actually have a shot. Who's Joe? This is a 5 round fight. I don't think he'll hold for 5 rounds. I mean, he can just finish him if possible. Jonald Mendoza, both on their prime. Who you got? The Prime Jones or my goat Shamil the Blob? Because the this running joke of Shamil is honestly crazy. I'm going with the goat. I'm going with the blob. Um, Big Ang MMA, Marg Goddard refereeing the Ilya versus Charles fight. Early stoppage. Early stoppage incoming. It's quite sad that we have to predict this kind of things. Kyle Riggs, Voss, what would it take? What would I take? Stefan SA, you look like Khalil Rountree from Wish. Wow. Um, who you got, Hill or Roundtree? I got Roundtree, but I genuinely feel like Hill might actually surprise a lot of people. You should watch Ahmed Didat the debates. I have in the past though. Shoshat Miki Malik, the man liquor is back. um, HD comms. UFC 317, no woman is amazing. Remember this lord, who's Malik the man? Remember this lord, why is Chad so quiet? Oh, guys, I'm glad it's quiet. Oh my flippin' damn! The comments have been so many. A part of me was like, these guys are not gonna finish asking me questions. Oof! I'm about to bounce. Wow, maybe it's because I haven't slept. Whew. Like it's been an hour. I don't know how I'm able to do 7 hours with watch alongs. Flip. Or maybe it's because I've been working the whole day. I streamed twice, 3 times a little bit earlier today. But yo, oh yeah. Anyway, guys, join me for the watch along. I think like the numbers for today, like a lot of people have been watching. Like more and more, I see the numbers increasing. I'm loving that. Welcome to the channel, guys. If you're new, go through the entire channel. To my subscribers, the community section, once again, you can start your own conversations. You don't have to wait for me to post anything. You can post whatever you want and start your own conversations there. So yeah, that excites me. I just turned it on a couple of minutes ago. So yeah, have fun with that. I'll also be participating in those discussions. I'll come up with something for us to do in that particular section. So if you're new to the channel, join me for the watch along tomorrow. I'm so flipping tired. I'm going to respond to the last few comments that are remaining that I haven't responded to, and then I'm bouncing. Um, HD comes. Women fights is my piss break. What? John Al Mendoza, women fights is my main event. Renee is Lord, women fights are my goonie breaks. Wow. Renee is Lord, women fights are my goonie breaks. SKRRR, what happened to your hair? Christ and Oh my goodness, these jokes, man. Anyway, join me for the watch along tomorrow and for predictions. But This week's predictions, I'm done. Breakdowns. Go through the entire channel, shorts, video, live, community section. I love and appreciate all of you. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the watch along. The predictions for UFC 317 are coming out tomorrow. For those who don't know, for those who are not subscribed to the channel, keep an eye out on the short section and the video section. I love and appreciate all of you. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the watch along. Join me, turn on your notifications, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so that you can be notified when I go live. You can customize your notifications so that you don't get notified about everything, just specifically the lives if you want to. But I post every day on the video, shorts, and even the live section of the channel. So it's up to you which one you want to be notified for. So yeah, see you guys tomorrow. I'm so flipping tired. Deuces.